Hey guys, what's going on? B McG here, and today we're going to be talking about Gamora's buff, and I really think she's going to be a super useful character going forward in the future. She's one of the few characters who has 100% uptime on miss counters. 'Cause she doesn't really have like vigilance, but she counters miss by having buffs. But she's one of the few characters who has access to that super easily without sacrificing like certain areas of damage. It's just something she gets just by playing her, which I think is really cool, super valuable. But yeah, we have Aunt May pulled up. Aunt May has the previous abilities before she was buffed. So if I scroll down to light attacks and medium attacks, it says 35% chance to gain a fury buff lasting 9 seconds. And medium attacks have 35% chance to gain a cruelty lasting 9 seconds. And then if Gamora has 10 or more personal buffs active, her attacks cannot miss. So if I scroll over to the game right now, which is what's live, says 65% chance to gain a fury buff, 65% chance to gain cruelty. So she has a significantly higher chance to gain these buffs, and with that, if she has 8 or more personal buffs active, her attacks cannot miss. So she has a higher chance to gain buffs, and she has less buffs required to counter miss. The reason why I am so interested in Gamora is because not this upcoming season for War, but the next one we're getting a defensive tactic called Mystic Dispersion. So anytime a buff is removed from you or expires, the defender will gain a miss passive, I think is what it's called, and your attacks will miss for like 2 seconds when you trigger it. Intercepts will ignore it. So there's going to be a pool of characters in the Defiance pool who counter miss, or not counter miss, but they counter the tactic by not being able to gain buffs. But in Tier 1, Tier 2, we will only have that attack tactic for one of the 2 seasons we have Mystic Dispersion defensive tactic. So having a character who can just flat out counter miss could be super valuable for countering certain characters. And her ramp up has been significantly sped up. So if I go back to Aunt May, obviously she's got 65 or 35% chance for both buffs. And in game, you guys just saw she had 65% chance now. So it's a 30% increase, which means you have a higher chance to gain these buffs and a higher chance to ramp up your damage. I've seen people complain a lot that the buff potency was cut back, and I think that's just a fair trade-off for making her better to use in shorter / average duration fights. Not only does she have less buff duration, but now she has higher buff duration. I think I might have said that wrong. She has less buff potency, but higher buff duration, so it removes some of the stress from playing her. So I think by the time you're fully ramped up with buffed Gamora now, pre-buff Gamora would still be ramping, and I really don't see why people are still super upset by this buff. She's a little bit easier to use, in my opinion at least. Her miss counter is more reliable because you can gain the buffs faster. And yeah, so her heavy attack animation got changed. It still refreshes all the personal buffs. And the special 1 and special 2. The special 1 now has 2 hits. Before it was only 1 hit. So now you get 2 bleeds that deal that bleed potency or whatever. So you're going to be dealing extra damage from that. And then the special 2 before had 2 hits. The special 2 now has 3 hits. And it will inflict 3 armor breaks if you have you have a chance to inflict 3 armor breaks, but if you activate it with Godslayer active, which is what you normally do, because it's the first special you throw, you'll get 3 armor breaks guaranteed because the increased ability accuracy. The armor breaks will have increased potency and duration. So yeah, she's basically just getting more damage from this the extra armor break on the special 2, because 50% more potency. Multiply or take half of 525, add that on, you're roughly around like 750-ish. I don't really feel like doing the math. So yeah, I think she just is overall better and easier to use. So going back to in-game now, so going back here, I think she's just genuinely better. The True Strike on the Special 3 is now refreshable. I don't think it was before the buff, which I think is cool. I mean, you're not really going to use this True Strike all too often. Like if you were to use her in war, the fight is probably going to be over by the time you get to your Special 3, because you just launched the Special 2 and finished the fight. But just wanted to break that down a little bit and explain why I think she's better, because she ramps faster, and once you reach that ceiling, you're going to be dealing so much damage. I was testing her at rank 3 Sig 20 on the CCP beta, and she was hitting 42k medium attacks. So for those people who are complaining that she doesn't do as much damage as she did before, politely, you guys are crazy as hell. She's dealing as much damage as Cosmic Ghost Rider after a Special 3 and a Special 2, and she has like 100% uptime on that once you ramp it up, whereas CGR can only do that in bursts. So I don't know what else you guys want, but yeah, let's start getting to the rest of the video. I figured I'd just cover this a little bit and explain my thoughts on why I'm going to be ranking her up as soon as I get enough gold in ISO. So coming back to Aunt May to look at her synergies, because this is what also intrigues me for her use cases in Alliance War. You can take a look at some of these synergies. Mr. Fantastic is a Defiance attacker for the Defiance tactic that we'll be having for the next 2 seasons in Tier 1. This will give Gamora increased potency on all her buffs and give increased attack rating to all synergy champs. So this is pretty decent for Gamora. I don't think you'd ever need it for war, to be honest with you. But this will pretty much help her deal more damage faster, because if your buffs have more potency, that means more damage. And since you're ramping these faster anyways, the increased potency can help end fights faster. Although I will show you guys in a practical war scenario, like health pool, she's pretty quick. And this buff really helped her out with that. Scrolling down here, cybernetic upgrades. Personal buffs gain plus 20% duration, which is huge for war scenarios where you might need to bait special attacks, or there's certain nodes to play around. Having extra duration could be huge. And there are other synergies that will increase her buff duration, and the other attackers are practical characters to use. So the champs in this synergy, I forgot to mention the other part. You begin the fight with one Fury buff and 1 Cruelty buff, which means you will start with 2, which means you have 6 left to get to your 100% uptime miss counter. And then again, champs in this synergy gain attack rating. It's not really the biggest deal for all these characters, but extra attack is extra attack. You stack 2 of these synergies up, and it's 10% attack rating increase. Gamora, Mr. Fantastic, and Silver Centurion is a viable war team in my opinion, depending on nodes, what paths you have to go up, what defenders you have to fight. Guillotine 2099 is also a viable war attacker, although I personally cannot stand using her. I know some people who do like her, and that's fine. So I close that. This one is not really that useful. No one's going to bring Iron Man, no one's going to bring Beast, and Godslayer Strike. Usually for the fights you'll use her for, I think 1 Special 2 will KO the opponent, so it's not like you need that. Sibling Rivalry. This looks like it's cut off. Oh no, it's just displayed weird. Robots suffer negative 10% ability accuracy and negative 2% attack rating for each personal buff on Gamora, and the synergy partner is Nebula. And you guys are probably thinking, well, Nebula already counters robots. That's true, and if you're bringing Nebula to counter robots, Gamora could also do it as well. So not only for war scenarios is this useful, because there are certain nodes where probably Nebula couldn't take a robot, Couldn't name any off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the map and try to brainstorm placements, but Gamora could take a robot and completely shut them down. Like Dragon Man, for example. Nebula's great for him, but now Gamora is as well. Just don't throw the special too. So I think that's a really cool synergy. It's also great for questing because certain paths could have multiple robots on it, and you could use both of them to counter these characters on the lane. So I think that's really cool. And right here, Captain America Infinity War, I feel he's kind of older, and it kind of shows, but I think he's still one of the safest attackers to use due to his insane block proficiency. He's still super useful. Damage is still super high. So this synergy here will give Gamora increased buff duration by 25%. You can go up here and stack that with one of these, this synergy right here with Silver Centurion and Guillotine 2099. And that will allow you to have increased buff duration by, I think, 45%. I'm pretty sure they're additive because it's plus. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And that would also allow Captain America to gain access to Armor Break and Petrify. And then another thing that I think is cool is that if you don't want to bring Silver Centurion or Guillotine 2099 because they don't counter the fights that you need, you can go down here to War Machine. And War Machine gives Gamora plus 25% buff duration, so that's going to be plus 50% buff duration, and your team would be Gamora, War Machine, and Captain America Infinity War. Captain America Infinity War would have access to Armor Break and Petrify with this team, which is very useful. Captain America Infinity War is also a Defiance attacker. He cannot gain buffs with that attack tactic, and we'll have that for the next 2 seasons, which I think is also really cool. And this will also give War Machine two extra cleanse charges, so he'll have 4 total, I believe, which is awesome, in my opinion at least. And War Machine also has the ability to remove prowess, which not a lot of characters have, which I think is really cool, and it gives him a use on the map. So I think that there are enough scenarios where you can team build around Gamora to make assigning her make sense and assist in like building up other characters as well. Like Captain America is a prime example. War Machine also benefits. So I think she's pretty cool, and I think she's definitely going to have some uses in the future, and I will definitely test her next off season when we get first access to the Mystic Dispersion defense tactic. But let's get into some gameplay now so I can show you guys what I mean. There's not much gameplay because I don't want to make the video too long, because this is already super long, just showing off my opinion on Gamora. But let's get into the game now. So to start, this is Gamora at rank 2 reminder, just for those wondering. And I am running War Machine, Nebula, and Gamora. This is a practical war attack team in my opinion. And the Sentinel here has 171,000 health, which is about the average Alliance War health pool at the tier 1 level, I believe, or the expert map level. So the synergy here with Nebula allows us to shut down robots pretty much when we gain 10 personal buffs. It's not 10 personal buffs, her miscounter is personal buffs. I believe this is just any buffs in general. So Sentinel here is supposed to regen health every certain amount of seconds or whatever. You guys will see that he's failing to do so because we're shutting it down. He's not gaining analysis charges as well. And we finished this fight in 40 hits. And if you look at the fight duration, I believe it was just above 40 seconds. I can't see it through my thing on my iMovie, but I'm pretty sure it was like 43 seconds. So I definitely think she's pretty viable for war health pools now, because she can easily ramp up a lot faster than she used to. And here are some more use scenarios where she can counter miss fairly quickly. So we're just going to be in Act 6 for a little bit, showing you guys just how she works against tunnel vision. I think tunnel vision is an extreme case scenario for countering miss, because you can't do the same thing twice otherwise you'll get a falter debuff on you. So the goal here is do light, medium, and I learned the hard way in this clip that the Odin buffs don't count towards the miss counter. So like right here, I didn't realize that I would miss. Joe's kind of a pain on defense now, and there we go, UI bugs. But I get right there with the heavy attack and it says miss failed, and I will have access to this for the rest of the fight so long as I can weave heavy attacks in to refresh my debuffs. So now we are getting into a bit of Act 7. I'm not going to fight this, well I did fight this Nebula, but I'm not going to show it in this video, and there's also a Cyclops after her. I played really sloppy and didn't do a good job showcasing Gamora, so I'm only going to show this Hawkeye fight a little bit, just to show you guys how she works against this node combo. So if I recall correctly, node 48 on Boss Island has this exact node where if a buff on the defender expires, there is a falter timer, and if you don't knock down the defender within that time period, you become faltered. If you knock them down, they become faltered, and she becomes a great option for countering that node. She's super vanilla and straightforward to play. Just do 5-hit combos and then knock down the opponent, and you will keep up your miss counter. There's really not many characters who are just that simple to use against this node combo. She's super straightforward, super safe. Her damage is really good. She ramps up pretty quickly. Her specials are all guaranteed critical hits, so if you use your special 2 with a cosmic power back boost, you will be gaining back tons of power, and you could probably just loop special 2s back and forth. In the compensation era, you have enough loyalty to pretty much stock up on these boosts whenever they come by. There's no reason not to use them if you have access to them. Like right there, I probably would have been pushed my special 3, considering war health pools are smaller than this Hawkeye we're fighting. So I definitely see her being useful in the future in Alliance War, and I'd love to test it out next off season. And yeah, I'm really excited to use her more. I'm really excited to take her to rank 3. I think the buff is pretty awesome, makes her viable for so much more content. She's so much more generally useful. I think it was a great buff. I think she's already being highly underrated. So if you guys like this style of video more, where I talk more and explain my thought process while reading things on AtMay or in-game abilities, let me know. I usually prefer just to do like gameplay videos, but yeah, that's gonna do it for me, guys. If you did enjoy, consider hitting like, consider subscribing. If you already subbed, you know I love you. See you guys for the next video or stream. Peace out.